Alright, in this video here, something quick, safety wise, something you got to do. I'll be changing out the brakes, is the parking brakes on this, but since I'm going in there, I'll be changing out the pads on the rotor at the same time. This is the one for the rotor, part number, and on these vehicles it takes a parking brake shoes, just like your old style drum brakes is on the inner section, and when we take it off you get a good idea. I'll take off one side. What I did, I jacked up both sides. Both sides is off the ground right now, and I have jack stands already set up under it. So I'll go ahead and start taking off the wheel and go from there. Oh, and if I didn't mention, the number for that one is there, 771. But go ahead and do that now. Okay, and for guys with the stock wheels, you can go under your hood and get the tool to take it off, or you get something that'll fit in there and take this off on this section here. So I'll go ahead and put something here to protect the aluminum back here, and then pop it off so I can get access to the bolts or nuts. Alright, I got this one off. It was tough. I had to go get that long breaker bar to get it loose. Now release the e-brakes, and we'll have to take off the caliper, and that's the reason why I'm changing these out anyway. Since I have to take off the caliper, might as well do that. So I'll do that, and then this sometimes comes off easy and sometimes it is locked on there tight. So I have the sledge just in case. So go ahead and do that now. Alright, I just got the brake caliper off, and that was number 12 millimeter, and then I took the bracket off, and the bracket was 18, I think. So got it off, and then this is where you would hit the thing if it doesn't come off, but try it first. Oh, this one here is loose. Oh yeah, so I didn't have to hit that one. And that's your brake pads inside there. Check the surface inside here. This one here is real good, so that's good. So I can move on now and start taking off pieces to make this thing here going easy. Make sure clean off everything here that you see, and make sure this does not get bent in, or else you'll hear a noise when you're driving, and that's because you bent that. If there's any place you need to paint, check for rust, now is the time to do it with everything out of your way. I'll get back in this and change out the pads. Alright, my problem was not the shoes. The shoes in them have pretty much good meat on it still. This was seized up, so when I tried to adjust it, it wouldn't turn. Opened it up and cleaned it out, everything, put some anti-seize on it, and now it's free. So that's something there to look forward to, because this thing is hard to work with. But I'm going to change it out anyway and put on the new ones. So I'll be back. I've been looking for one tool all this time. Finally found it, but you have to take this out to make life a lot easier. Take the shaft off. It's just the bolts, I think they're 17s, and then you have to use the puller on it. But to get this section off, you need this tube. Yeah, that's for the Fords, 2 3/4, and then it just slides in right there. It holds itself in place, and that's it. So now that I got it, I go ahead and take it off. Okay, once you get off the little cone, the nut on the inside. Oh, I forgot to mention. That's nut on the inner section. Let me get it. This nut, it's reverse thread. And then this sits as is behind it. This sits just like that on top of this one. But then you have to get the puller and pull that section off. So that's it. Now I might only do this one side today. As soon as this piece comes off, you have full access to everything. What I'm gonna do, since I'm down this deep in it, I'm just gonna do the other side and then change out the differential oil and make sure you get that additive, also the non-slip. All right, let's see if I can get this thing. You have that long spring, is on the back side of it is the short, real thick one. At the bottom, you just have that one. And then don't forget those two little clips there and there. That's the two clips. Everything is done on this one here. It just needs to be adjusted when it's put back on the spindle and everything. In the morning I'll do the other side so you have a good view of it. Alright, the shaft is back in, and what I did, that nut, the big funny odd looking nut, tighten it up until it's basically a bearing nut. So you want to have the hub still spinning free, and then put back on those bolts. Those bolts, when they come out, you'll notice they have the blue lock thread on them. Just remember to put them back on it so that you can put those back in, and they have a torque sequence, so then just follow your torque on it. Alright, I'll be back in the morning and continue with the other side. Alright, it's real early right now, but these are where you'll be putting in the this piece won't spin, so you have to spin the back end to make it line up to the holes, and then you just clean up your rotor and put it on. Once you take this off, changing that brake is, I mean, it's so quick. So we'll get back to it. It's kind of early. I'll spray paint back here too also, make sure I don't get any rust. I'll be back. Alright, I took brake cleaner, cleaned up the rotor, put on gloves now because whew, you're in the shower forever trying to get that brake dust off of you. So make sure there's no scarring in here, which this one here is real good. And then you'll put it on. You can put it on now or after you put on your bolts. I'll put the bolts in now, and then this rotor just slips on, just like it came off. It slips on, and then I put on the brake pads, which is just a regular brake pad. What I do with the piston on the caliper, I take a C-clamp. I have a brake tool to crank it in, but to me the C-clamp works better. Just put the old shoe in there and just press it back. So I'll go ahead now, get my lock thread. It's the blue one. Put it on those bolts, and the bolts came out, and you could tell they had it already on there. So put it right back. Alright, that's how I started off. Cross corner, they're not tight yet, everything's loose. Then I put in the other four, then tighten down the first four I put in. Well, start here and here, there and there, and then go that way. And then the torque sequence, I can put it down, it's in the book, so everybody will know what it is. Alright, the torque on it is 98. You won't be able to do it yet because you have to lock the e-brakes on or have the wheel back down, If you try to do 98 now, it'll just turn. When you're putting this back on the axle shaft, check the seal. Make sure the seal is good. I forgot to show. I put some Permatex on it, just around the edge. Make sure it's sealed and stayed where it was supposed to stay. And the torque wrench is already set right there. So I'll go ahead and get this part back together. But the last thing I'll do is torque these. They're tight, but they're not torque. All right. All right. What I did, I shouldn't have done it yet, but I took the plug off to adjust that little adjustment for the e-brakes, and I went in the truck, put the truck in the on position, put it in neutral, spun the rotor. The rotor was spinning pretty good. Came in and push the e-brake. That's all she's going down. It is tight. So I have to do no adjustment. This thing here is tight. So I have to do no adjustment, which is really good. It's in park right now, so you can't turn it. Well, yeah, I can move it a little bit, but it's real good there. So you don't have to pull this out. If you did it like that, it's adjusted already. I'll go ahead and put this back on, put a little bit of silicone grease or soap water. I'll use the soapy water and pop this back in. There's a dust cap. All right, I couldn't find my big C-clamp, so I had to do them one at a time. This one here, crank it down right there, and then move it to here and crank it down. Just be real slow. You're not racing with it. Just letting the fluid go back through that tiny little hose back where it needs to be. So don't push it, and make sure you're looking at your reservoir so it doesn't overflow, because it should be at the line after you do the all four. It should be directly at the line, the max line. Since we're only doing the two, we should come pretty close to the max line. And the brakes on the front look pretty new, so we should be pretty close. So now I'll go ahead and clean these parts up and put it back on. The new hardware that came with it, I don't like it. It probably worked just as good, but I don't really like it. So I'm going to clean up the old hardware, grease it back up, and use it. I won't use the new one. Okay, see me take off the clips to go clean. Then don't forget to take these out. And the grease in here is so dried up. You have to re-grease these. Yeah, have to re-grease them. And I'm going to clean out the insides to make sure that old grease isn't locking it up. Clean this up. I'll clean everything and put it back together. All I did, put some brake cleaner in it and just scrub it down. I'll get my little wire brush and clean it up real good. But this is coming off real easy. It's not give me a hard time to come off. So that's good. And the wire brush should clean it up the way I want to. I can't get to my parts cleaner. I got too much junk in front of it. I'll be back with that cleaned up. I just sprayed some brake cleaner inside these areas here. Just letting it sit. I'd probably take some Q-tips and clean it out. And then I'm cleaning this up, and the other one is still in here. So I'll come back when they're all cleaned up. Alright, everything's cleaned up to the best I could. I used the grease that came in the package, put it on the stems, and now I can move the stem without, it was so hard to get out last time. I can move it now with just one hand, so we're good. I'll get ready to put this on now. Okay, on the brake pads, see, they had these and don't have the that little piece there that was the it's like the alarm for the wear. The clip has it on those, so these don't have it. If this won't work with the other ones that I put in, I'll just snap them out and put these new ones in. But you will have at least one on each side that has this, and the other one won't have any. This doesn't have the pad on the back, so I don't have to use that. I just have to grease all the points that touch. There. I'll still put a little bit on the back where the two pistons ride on it, just for vibrations and stuff. But that's all I have to do, is slip it back in. If the old clips don't work, I will be installing the new ones, but it's the old ones I prefer to use. All right, try to put it on and realize these are not the right ones. These has a mount, they're female end and a male end on this. So these are still pretty good, so I'll put it in, contact the company about those right there, and I should be done with that side. Oh, there's one thing I did not mention. When you're tightening up the inner section here for this piece here to go back on, I think you really have to tighten it up all the way, but a good thing to do is put on your bracket and make sure it's not touching the front or the back. And when you tighten it up all the way, if it doesn't spin, then maybe back it up like one notch and see if it spins. But just make sure you have the clearance for your the bracket, the brake bracket. All right, I've been getting phone calls one after the other. I got this side here back on and together. Just need to put on the cap. So I'll start with this one here, and then maybe if I don't get interrupted, I could see how long it really takes. Okay, I took off the wheel, normal. Took off just the two bigger bolts. Took this off in one piece. That's the whole caliper. This one here is stuck on, so I have to get the sledge for it. And hit the sides. Let's see. It's a little shaky. Okay, she's off. Look like I'll be needing two hands to take it off all the way. Oh, it could be the emergency brakes that's holding it. I think it's off, so it'll probably be a little tight. I might have to loosen the adjuster on the back. I'll go do that. All right, I just hit it and pulled at the same time, and the brakes is all released, but it's just snug, so it came off. That's what I got. So right now I'll go ahead and take off the bolts here, take it off, and go ahead and take the other piece off. All right, I got all the bolts out. It's got the lock thread on them blue. Got all of them out. Now just put this on, pull it out. I'll be back with the next. Oh, once you get this piece out, then you have to take the same thing, the puller, and pull the top end out, and then you can reach the brakes with no problem. All right, got it broke loose. That's the grease that'll be falling out to the oil, and you pull the whole shaft out. Make sure no dirt get on it, so put it someplace that's clean. I'll lay mine up on this, not out in the dirt. All right, now have to take off the other piece. Well, what I do, I put a socket in that area. If you have something small, you can pop it out, but have to break that nut loose first. The reverse thread. Alright, this is the setup I do to get it off. It's an 1.25 inch socket, and then just put it in the 1/2 inch hole that holds it straight, and then I just crank it down. And that's it. It comes off easy. Alright, with no interruptions to this point, it's about 10 minutes. A little less than 10 minutes, but 10 minutes. Gets you to this point. And now it's the simple stuff. Change out your brakes and put it back on. Alright, I'll try to see how much I can do with videoing in one hand. Alright. Take my little hook. Take that off. That's the adjuster right here. It's already pushed out a good bit. When we put it back in, since it's new shoes, it'll be all the way in. Man, look like I'm gonna have to have 2 hands. Yeah, I'll have to use 2 hands. What I did with the last one was took these out, the little clips, and that gave me a little more movement to where I can just take it off that way. Alright, I hooked it like that and pulled it off to get that one out. The last one is the hard one. That one back there, real hard. So I'll go ahead now and try to see taking it off. What I did on the last one, I pulled it this way, it's just the shoe. I slipped the shoe over and that one too. Take it off that way. Alright, I pulled it off like I just said. Came off in one piece with the thing still there. I just pulled it on this side here, loop it over this, and then pulled it out. Now I just need to clean this up and start putting parts back. Alright, I got a small little tip here that would help out. Now on this side, I forgot to mention, this one here was lefty loosey, righty tighty, normal. The other side was reverse thread. Put this side on first. This is the side with the way it goes in between on both sides, there and there. And then this one here, you just have to pull it and it'll slip on this little edge right here once it gets up on that one. And both sides are made like that. I think it's just reverse. All right, we're in about 18 minutes into the whole thing, and the other two is the easy stuff now. This spring to the top, just hook it there and on the other side, and then that one's real easy. It just goes in at the bottom, and those two holes, let me see if I can get better light over here, goes into that little hole over here, and there's a corresponding one on the other side, and that's it. All right, I put on one thing wrong. I had to change it up. This spring, make sure is as close to this, make it touch this, because if it goes at the bottom, it's going to be rubbing on that piece. So that's all I had to do. Now putting it together. That's just something, don't want you to fall into the same trap I did. All right, even though I'm not changing the pads out, from checking the other one, I knew these needed greasing. These actually are pretty good. The other ones, well, this one here is stiff. So that tells me I need to clean this just like I did the other side, grease them up, and put them back together. All right, this is all done. Should take about 35 minutes. 35, anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes in between there. And that's everything back. Don't forget the Permatex on the seal in here, just to make sure it seals good. And then the lock thread on those bolts. And everything is buttoned back up. So that's it, just put the tire on, and then I'm gonna do a differential oil change on it. All right, I had to go back in for some reason and adjust these pads from the back. You just turn it. The other one was pretty good. So now I'm done with this, and thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if it helped you out, and I'll start with the differential oil change now. And thanks for watching.